Welcome back to the property edition of Your Money, Your Call. Of course, you know that our job is to help you with your property investing questions and to make your job just that little bit easier. Tonight, you'll be speaking with Ben Kingsley from Empower Wealth and Michael Tees from Tees Lawyers. And of course, I can also answer any property investing question that you might have. So call us on 1300 30 34 35, or you can email us at property@skynews.com.au. Now, Ben, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't let you get a plug in as well, since I allowed Michael to have one at the beginning of the show. I believe that you have a wealth forum coming up on the 28th of October in Melbourne.
We do. It's a property-specific forum. We're doing a lot of work. We actually have Chris Gray coming down as a guest speaker for that show as well. So and we've got tax depreciation discussions as well. So all the details are on our website at empowerwealth.com.au.
Excellent. So just go and have a look at Ben's website. Kel from Ocean Shores, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Margaret, and we love your session and your all the work that you do.
Thank you.
We have a strata title unit down in Semaphore in South Australia, and it needs external painting. There are 5 in the units, and we have agreement from 4 of the unit holders, but one person says that they can't afford it, and we're just wondering what we can do about this. This was brought up in a meeting last year, the strata title meeting, and it's just been unresolved.
Okay, well, Kel, Semaphore's certainly a great place for you to hold that property, so I'm glad to hear that you've got property down there. That's a really up-and-coming area. There's an awful lot happening in terms of growth. We have the right person on the panel tonight. Michael is an expert in strata titled matters, and he's actually helping me out with a couple that I've got going at the moment. Michael, what can you do for Kel?
Kel, I think you're being very generous to your co-owner. You don't need to get unanimous approval for this type of work. If the painting has to be done, then it has to be done. And a meeting should be held, and motions should be put and carried just by those that vote on the day. And that will be sufficient to enable your owners corporation to strike a levy to pay for the works. Now, in a building of 5 or 6, people do tend to go out of their way to get unanimity so that there's less conflict, and that's an admirable thing to do. But if someone's holding out on you and just saying they can't afford it or don't want to do it, then that's not good enough, because they have responsibilities as a co-owner. The obligation to repair and maintain common property is an absolute strict obligation, and it needs to be done when the work needs to be done, not when people feel like they can afford it.
So what happens if the person just doesn't have the money?
If they don't have the money, then ultimately they have to sell their property. I mean, the hard reality of owning common property in common with other people, is that you have to pay your share of the bills as and when they fall due. And levies run with the land, which is why lending to owners' corporations is actually good business. But so someone will always find the money if they have to. Ultimately, if the levy is not paid, the owners' corporation will have to take legal action and recover a judgment and can force the unit to be sold.
Michael, is that another option for Kel, for their owners' corporation to seek a loan in order to have the work done?
It is an option. There's some very good finance facilities that are available. The interest rate works out a little higher than you would normally pay on borrowings, a couple of percentage points higher, because it is an unusual type of loan. But definitely there is finance available. However, the finance will have to be taken out by the owners' corporation and for the whole of the contribution. You won't be able to find finance for 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6 shares. So all of the owners would have to agree. Now, it sounds to me here like Kel's got agreement from everyone else bar this one particular owner, so that's probably not an option for this owners corporation. But for anyone else out there watching, for major repairs where people have not or unexpected repairs where people have not saved progressively, then strata finance is an interesting product.
Okay, hopefully that'll help you out then, Kel. Adam from Drummoyne, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm very good, thanks, Margaret. Just a question for the panel regarding an investment property which I recently sold on a 6-month delayed settlement. And I sold it as an investment property, and as soon as the tenants found out that the property had changed hands, they stopped paying me the rent, and I'm wondering if the sale can actually fall through, if the purchaser can use that as an excuse to sort of not settle when the time comes.
This looks like another one for you, Michael. Lots of legal.
I've been working overtime tonight.
Lots of legal questions tonight.
Adam, can you tell me if when you sold the property, did you specify? You obviously disclosed the tenancy, but was it a condition of the contract that the tenancy had to be maintained?
No, it wasn't. The trouble is, I'm using a local conveyance. I didn't use a solicitor, and so
that's okay.
She didn't even know the answer to the question.
Yeah, sure.
So hence the call.
I think you get very good service from conveyancers, I should say, even though others in my profession might not like me to say that. But I think conveyancers do a good job, particularly in New South Wales, a very high standard of professionalism. But look, this issue is going to be one. I don't think it gives legal grounds for the contract to be terminated. That's not to say that the purchaser might not try. But look, in this market, Adam, I would have thought that there's likely to be no problem. I think your contract will hold up, and you might get some rumblings, but it's not likely to be a problem.
Okay, hopefully that's going to help you out as well. Rachel from the Central Coast, what can we do for you?
Hi, Margaret. Thank you. And my question to you and for your panel for tonight is, our eldest son has actually got a property at the moment, which is in Sydney, on this St George area, and he's looking at upgrading, selling that, and perhaps purchasing on the Northern Beaches. He's looking at a property about 550 to 600. Now, a question. I would like to encourage him to actually keep the property and use his equity, as he does have a very healthy equity into it, or sell up and buy one so he doesn't have such a mortgage, as he's looking at moving into the property in a year or two.
Okay, so you're concerned that your son is going to be selling a perfectly good property in St George in order to buy this one on the Northern Beaches, and you think he should hold on to the one at St George?
I do.
Okay. Ben, this is often a question, and I guess there's always a danger that people are going to end up a little bit upside down financially, isn't there? Where they have a low loan on an investment property and a big loan on a property that they own, and that it can cost them a lot of money and not be worthwhile.
You're right, Margaret. And I think, Rachel, the other thing that's important for your son to realise is that if he has the cash flows to ensure that he has the capabilities of servicing the loan and provisioning to make sure that he's comfortable in doing so, then your idea of helping him to hold on to that property is a viable one, in my view. So it really is going to come down to what sort of lending he can secure, and basically making sure that his lifestyle's not too affected in terms of trying to hold this asset. Because ultimately, from that point of view, if he can hold on to this asset, if we move forward in 5 or 10 years' time, it could be a fantastic outcome in terms of wealth creation.
The other thing that worries me, though, Rachel, is the fact that if he can sell the St George property now, it will be capital gains tax free for him. So the equity that he does have in that, he can bring out, and he keeps all of it to roll over into his owner-occupied property, and then he can leverage back from that equity that's in his owner-occupied property and buy more investment properties. While it's capital gains tax free, and it will be for 6 months while he owns 2 properties, there's a 6-month overlap rule, it's probably a good time for him to get out of it and stay in the right position financially. If he hangs on to it and then sells it down the track, he will pay capital gains tax on any gain that he makes from the time that he's moved out, and that might not be such a good position. This is one that he needs some good advice on, and I think that he should be seeking the advice of a financial advisor.